Hello, today I'm at Wylam doing a walk which I've been putting off for a long time. Up to now, most of the walks I've been doing I could say whatever I liked and no one would be the wiser, but there are people in Wylam who will be watching my videos, i.e. my family, who will be too eager to correct me when I get things wrong. I'm not a historian, so I'm not trying to say anything that I'm doing here is fact. But today I'm going to be looking at roughly where the mines of Wylam were located, and maybe a little bit of family history comes into it, which needs to be taken with a pinch of salt, as all family history does. So I'm going to start my walk at Point Bridge, or the Hag Bank Bridge, or Wylam Railway Bridge. Many names, same bridge. It's the oldest through-arch bridge in the world. Wylam could probably be considered my family's ancestral home. We've been here since the late 1700s when they came to work in the mines and on the railways when they started to form. I mean, obviously, if you go far enough back, our ancestral home would be Denmark with the Vikings, you know, but for all intent and purposes, Wylam's our ancestral home. A large part of my family still live in Wylam. I don't, priced out by the incomers, as happens in most rural locations. The local population gets moved out as the prices of property goes up. So as I said, I'm going to be starting at this bridge. First of all, I'll do Peggy Pit, and then onto the main pit, which was Hoff Pit, and then onto Ann Pit, and then we'll try and do some of the little ones, which most of them don't have names. There were a lot of mines, a lot of names as well, named pits, but most of them are just lost to history now. So as I said, I'm not a local historian. I don't try to pretend to be one, but we'll see how it goes. This is Wylam Railway Bridge, or the Points Bridge, or Hag Bank Bridge. Same bridge, different names. And it's the oldest through-arch bridge in the world. Now Wikipedia will have you believe that the Sydney Harbour Bridge and Tyne Bridge were inspired by the Brooklyn Bridge in America. This bridge predates it, crosses the Tyne, and it's most likely the inspiration for all the other bridges that came after it, considering it was the first in the world. Okay, the bridge opened in 1876 and was designed by W.G. Laws. I have a theory about this bridge, where the inspiration came from, but I'm not going to say it on camera. It's a busy track this, with walkers and cyclists. It's the old railway line, the North Line. Now Peggy Pit was located somewhere in one of these gardens. Most likely somewhere over there. Can't really pinpoint exactly where it is because of all the trees and overgrowth, but it was roughly in this vicinity. Okay, this would have been the site of the main Wylam Colliery. You can still see the remnants of the spoil heap underneath all those trees over there. The main shaft would have been approximately there, and then behind me here, and what's now allotments, would have been the engine room for the wheel. This was the main colliery in Wylam, Wylam Hoff Pit. Got some family history to go with this as well. Pit was closed in 1868, and one of my ancestors died in 1889 from a roof collapse from the mine. So I'm a little unsure which mine it was, but as I said, there were lots of mines in Wylam. It wasn't just this mine, although this was the main one for a long time. Now, this was all the site of the Hoff pit. Roughly here used to be 2 cottages here, and they were the first bits of property that my family bought in Wylam. Eventually the 2 ladies that lived here moved away. One died, I think, and one moved away to ancestors in Durham, and then the properties fell into disrepair, and I think they were claimed by the council by the sounds of it, knocked down. This area here was part of the property that my family bought when they closed the mine, and this was turned into a field for pigs. Kept pigs here. Now, the original first old wagon way with Puff and Billy fame used to cut straight across here, across the playing fields. This isn't going to be a railway history film. There's plenty of information on the railways in Wylam, because obviously Wylam's famous for the railways. It's mainly where the railways started, really. Behind me is the supposed birthplace of Timothy Hackworth. Obviously it isn't the house that's currently there today. It was being just a small little, basically the equivalent of a bothy. This place here, which is currently the site of the old school, which is now a library and part of the Wylam Railway Museum. This used to be the site of Wylam Ironworks, and obviously it was quite a large site. It wasn't just where the school is, but expanded a bit further along this way. This is, imagine in the past this was bellowing out black smoke. Wasn't a nice place to live like it is today. Double back on myself a little bit, back onto the road, hence the noise of the traffic again. This wall works on both sides of the main road, goes right up into the village. This is made up of the slag from the ironworks. You can see obviously it's been repaired in certain places with like newer modern stone. Back on the old railway track, what's now car park used to be the site of North Wylam railway station. This is Stephenson's Arms. This used to be a pub. It was built by my great-great-grandfather's brother, and he lost it to my great-great-grandfather in settling up a debt. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was a gambling debt, but no doubt there'll be someone commenting correcting me on that if it's wrong. And we're going to follow this road here, which initially runs adjacent to the old railway, and this leads to Ann Pit. When Stephenson's Arms was still a pub, they used to get a lot of the miners used to go drinking there, obviously. Now what my great-grandmother, I've got this right there, my great-grandmother, now she used to put like very salty snacks and stuff for free on the bar, to obviously to attract them to drink more beer, you know. And then what they used to do was, after they've all had a good skinful, the miners, the great-grandfather used to do bare knuckle boxing at the back with his brother, and they used to make a killing on the bets from the bare knuckle boxing, because obviously the miners had all had a good skinful. They were worse for wear to begin when they started, you know. It was a bit of a scam really when you think about it. Now this area here was the site of Ann Pit, part of Wylam Colliery. This was like the second main pit. You had the Hoff Pit where we were before, and then this was the site of the Ann Pit. And here we have George Stephenson's cottage. This is where George Stephenson was born. The family didn't own the entire cottage, they just rented one room in the cottage. Belongs to the National Trust. Unfortunately they've closed it without telling anyone. But originally they had this room done up as though it was from the time, you know. I'm not sure you'll pick it up on the camera. But over there, hidden in the trees, is Close House. That's where my great grandfather was gamekeeper when it was privately owned, and then it became part of the university, Newcastle University. My grandfather, my mother's stepfather, that is, was bursar. And my grandmother, who's just celebrated her 90th birthday, she was, that's where she lived. Obviously my mother lived there for a while as well. Yeah, it's now once more privately owned. It's got an extensive golf course, which they recently expanded. On the other side of this field, along this hedge, this is the boundary line between Wylam and Heading on the Wall. Now running along that hedge, there's like a ditch, and that was part of the mine workings of a pit that would have been over there near those trees. It's a bit out of my way to take the detour to go there, so I'm not going to bother, especially because the pit's in Heading on the Wall, really, not Wylam. But that pit's coal was processed at Wylam Colliery, so that kind of suggests that it might have been a blackhead pit. This here is the site of Rift Pit, and there's some remains here. We'll have a closer look. I'm not sure if the remains are part of the cottages that used to be here or part of the mine that used to be here, because there was a mine and there was some cottages called Griff cottages that used to be here. Now this field here looks as though it's planted with barley at the moment. When that field gets ploughed, you find loads of clay pipes from, or the pieces of clay pipes from the miners. We used to go collecting them when we were kids, and I took my nephew collecting them as well. There's literally thousands of them. So let's go and have a closer look. There's a bit of brick structure left over. As I said, I don't know if this is from the mine or from the the cottages that used to be here. It's all overgrown with nettles and brambles, like a lot of these old mine sites are. We'll go a bit further up and have a look. At the top, this was definitely, the top end was definitely the cottages, if there's any remains. But I'm not prepared to go through all of that undergrowth looking for a little bit of stone wall or a little bit of brick wall. As I said, it's very heavily overgrown. It's the pillbox in Wylam, left over from World War II. If I remember rightfully, my grandmother said it was stationed by some Polish lads. You can see the Tyne Valley here. Used to get German bombers used to come up the Tyne, trying to bomb all the works. There we go. That's inside. I often wonder if there were poles. I don't know 100% sure, because it's just what my grandmother told us. I often wonder if they actually lived in here, or whether they just like lived somewhere else and then just came here for like shifts. We're going to head up this way. Now here, you've got like a mound here. That was the site of another pit. I don't know what the name of the pit was, but in the adjacent wood, that wood there is called Bluebell Wood. This is Bluebell Lane. There used to be lots of bluebells in that wood, but they all got destroyed. But inside that wood, when it's not overgrown, today it'll be really overgrown at the moment, with brambles and whatever. You can see where all the workings have collapsed from this mine in that wood. When we were kids, we used to think that it was connected to the pillbox and that there were where bombs had gone astray, but it's not. It's the collapsed mine workings. Now we're going to cross this field here, which I'm not supposed to do, but I'm going to, because I need to be over there to another mine. There should be another mine over there as well. I'll have a look. Okay, where I am now is called Dayhole. Now there were two pits in Dayhole. One roughly where I am now, which is halfway along the Dean. Could easily have been there. Turn around. Over there you can see some collapsed workings. And some more collapsed workings along this side, and got a big bit of masonry down here as well. Let's see, a big bit of masonry there, some collapsed workings here, collapsed workings there. So could just as easily have been in this dip here, but I have no idea the exact location. The other pit is at the end of Dayhole, which is where we're heading now. Dayhole eventually runs into Engine Dean. Now there used to be a pit called Engine Pit, but as far as I can see there's no connection between Engine Pit and Engine Dean, despite the name. So I've no idea. I'm being eaten alive by insects here. So I've no idea where Engine Pit was originally. There was a clay pit on Engine Dean, but there's a coal pit called Engine Pit. So that one remains a mystery. It's not on the maps. This is more or less the site of the pit at the top of Dayhole. You can see what looks like bits of stone masonry littered around here, underneath that tree, some more over there. I'll have a little bit more explore around, see if there's anything else, and then we'll head off to the next one. So yeah, you got lots of large boulders that look like they're being quarried out. And this stone here, much clearer, but it's quarried stone, you know. Right, now I'm busy approaching Horley Woods. On this site here used to be some buildings, and this belonged to a mine that was owned by a guy called Bell from Harlow Hill. It wasn't a Blackhead mine, it was a Bell mine. So I'm going to go into the wood now and to the site where the pit was, because the pit was a little bit further along from these buildings. And just before I was going into Horley Wood, I noticed the wooden structures here, and I'm wondering if they had anything to do with the remains of the pit that was owned by Bell. Because I know of this site there were buildings. I just assumed that they would be here. But actually thinking back to the map and considering the route of Oakwood Burns over there, I begin to wonder whether that has something to do with it. Who knows? I would have thought any wooden structure would have rotted away. Behind me is the site of where the pit was. As I said, this one wasn't owned by Blackhead, this one was owned by someone called Bell at Harlow Hill. And then the buildings for this pit were further up the ravine there. There was another pit owned by the same company, which is a bit further down through all of this undergrowth. I'm not going to go to that one. It's a bit difficult to get to and get back out. Maybe in the winter I might have a look, but I've seen it before. It used to be open when I was about 8 years old. My father took me to see it, but it's not open now. It's been like, I don't know how they've done it, but they've blocked it off any case. You can't see where it used to be now. You'll not see it on the camera. There's clouds of midges over the stream here. I think I'll make a hasty exit back up to the top. Okay, this scar here, there's the pathway that goes down to the other pit, but I'm not going down to see it. It's too difficult to get back up once you go down. I often wonder if these scars are caused by when the pit was actually open. It was like the miners walking back and forth, you know. Sadly, it's a bit overgrown now, but this here is one of the best views in Wylam. View of Prudhoe, Hag Farm. Yeah, the shed behind me is the site of the last mine I wanted to show you in Wylam, the last one I know of, any case. This was the site of North Wylam Colliery. It's a reasonably sized site considering the other ones that we've looked at so far. Obviously the barn, let's see, back onto the barn. Obviously that barn wasn't there, that's a new structure. It was used as a tip for a little while. Sadly, I'm going to have to leave you now. It's 3 o'clock and I've got to get started. But that's the Mines of Wylam. Thank you for coming with me on this journey again. And if you like it, like, subscribe, etc. You know the drill by now. That's the reason why I never put it on my videos to begin with, you know. But it keeps the little one happy. That's what she likes to hear. Now, if anyone else is coming along this way, I mean, this road here is definitely trespassing. Big sign saying don't trespass at the other end. I came from the woods, so I didn't see any signs. Did you see any signs? No. In any case, if you headed across this fence here towards those trees over there, there's something I wanted to show you but I don't have time. There's a pet cemetery there, so if anyone else is on this walk, worth checking out if you've never seen it before. Obviously I've seen it a few times because I used to live here, you know, like, not literally in this barn but near here. So as I said, this is considered the ancestral home for my family. We've been here for like 250 years thereabouts. Probably one of the oldest families still living in Wylam. Obviously I'm not living in Wylam anymore, but I used to. And still got lots of family who live here. So that's it, that's the walk. And if you are following this walk and you want to get back, you just follow the track that I'm on now. And that takes you to the road, and then just follow the road down to the chemist, turn right at the chemist, and then right onto the old railway track, and yeah, even go back to Points Bridge where I started. Just probably not a good place for people to start, or you can turn left and head along to the old station car park, which is probably the recommended place to start this walk. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, bye.